It's always tougher, and I'm going to tell you why. Most voters are not knowledgeable of local government. And I don't mean just local government, your city council, your county members. I'm talking about your local state legislator, your local state senator. Most people who I respect, who are business people, I'll ask them, who's your state senator? And they're clueless, much less a state representative. The people who are actually making these changes when it comes to education, and when it comes to taxes, when it comes to transportation, most people don't know. And I think that there's an underlying of government that actually depends on that. And it's not changing, Jason. Most people have no idea who their local elected officials are, who represent them in the state legislature. But more so than that, they don't know what their responsibilities are. One of the biggest wows for me when I ran was that no one knew exactly what a county commissioner did for them. They didn't even know. So many people had me confused with other county commissioners. I remember at the time, Mildred Fernandez was a county commissioner when I was running. And when I would campaign to Hispanics, they would get mad at me and say, how dare you run against Mildred Fernandez? We already have a Latina in office. And I would be, I'm not running against her. We're running for 2 different seats, you know? And but the person who was prior to me running, who was a county commissioner in my area, did not do a very good job at talking to her constituents. Her constituents didn't even know who she was. You know, when I look at the number of turnouts, when I analyzed how many people were registered Hispanic in that district and how many actually voted, when I ran for office, there were 41,000 Hispanics eligible to vote for a county commissioner, yet 2,500 had only voted in the election. We're talking, what? Those numbers are less than 5%. You sit there and say, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You know, and I managed to get from 2,500. By the time I ran, we were close to 8,600. And people are like, oh, you'd be so proud, you tripled your number. There were 41,000 Hispanics eligible to vote, and 8,000 came out. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that. Proud to me would have been at least 20,000 Hispanics voting. To know that I reached about 22,000 votes in that district and my opponent got to about 28,000. That means if half of my Hispanic people would have turned out, I would have won that race. You know, I would have run. That 12,000 difference could have made me the county commissioner standing right now. And that was with me aggressively outreaching to them. State legislators don't do that. They pinpoint, and you know this and I do, who are your common voters. And those are the only people they talk to. They don't want anyone else in the mix, because when you bring someone else in the mix, then you don't know what the result is. Yeah. And that hasn't changed. I've been involved in politics in this county since 1996, and it has not changed at all. It has not changed. You know, we're talking 20 years. No one still knows who their elected officials are locally, and until
you said that there's a portion of government that basically depends on that type of apathy, where you know, right, well, there are 41,000 people, then maybe only 3,000 people of 3,000 eligible voters will actually show up and, you know, exercise their right to democracy. And I know I've asked you why about certain things, about, you know, why is there apathy towards immigration reform and blah, blah. What do you think is leading towards our general laziness when it comes to voting? Because this is something that's specific to Latinos, African Americans, it's Asians, it's white people. It's across the board. When we look at statistics nationwide, voter participation is just down in general. So why have we reached this point where we're looking at elections and we're just going, I just don't want to do this anymore? Like, why in the world have we got to this point where voting just doesn't matter?
Well, I've always thought that voting was never made for the working people. You know, the first Tuesday of the month, every other year, and come on a Tuesday, your kids are in school, you got to go to work, you're running around, and to think of, 1, I don't even know who's running, 2, where am I supposed to go vote, you know, 3, really, you know, what are the issues? People are so busy with life. I always appreciate places that have elections that run a whole week, and I know we have early voting and we have mail-in voting, but it still requires people to act, and it requires people to do. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we can vote on a weekend? Election day was on a Saturday. You know, election day was made to where you could go into any public library, any of the places, and vote. It is a very complicated system. I mean, one of the biggest things when we ran for office was making sure people knew where to go. yeah, they got fired up to vote for you. It's if they ordered an absentee, did they turn it in? Did they go vote early? Do they know where they're voting? Making sure when they go and vote, they have 2 forms of ID and they have the time to stand in line. And then you deal with down the ballot voting. A lot of times people, when they feel, I don't know who they are, I'll just kind of leave it blank, hurts.
Yeah.
You know, voting difference between president to senator in a ballot. Imagine us as a county commissioner that's all the way down. It's hard. It is extremely hard. So we've got all these hurdles that have been placed in front of us. Yeah, we can vote if you do this, if you do that, if you color in a yellow pencil, if you know, it's just it's so hard. And I don't know, I struggle with it every day because really the only thing that can move us forward is to impassionate our community. That's really at the end of the day going to make a difference. It's to get our community passionate to do it.